Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Adam, and I'll be your moderator. Carrie Webber is back as our speaker, and she'll be sharing key business systems and processes that will help perpetuate change, growth, and overall performance improvement. Carrie is the Chief Communications Officer and co owner of Jameson Dental Coaching and Dental Marketing. If you have any questions, please type them into the Q&A section of your control panel, and we'll reply via email within 2 business days. Henry Schein is not offering CE credit for viewing or attending this presentation, live or on demand. And this webinar is sponsored by Henry Schein's Dental Business Institute as well as Jameson Dental. Carrie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much to all of you for joining me for this next session of the Henry Schein Dental Academy. In this conversation, I am excited because I'm going to be sharing with you some of the foundational systems or approaches to growing your practice, growing your business that we at Jameson use in our coaching with Jameson practices, as well as in our assistance that we provide to practices in marketing their practices. So a little peek behind the curtain, so to speak, in terms of if you're looking for ways to refine, to grow, to lead your team and your practice more effectively, these are some of the tools that we at Jameson use on the regular. And I want to provide them to you as resources. So my hope for you as we work through this today is that you will look from the eyes and from the mindset of a practice leader, or if you're the owner, if you're the doctor and the owner of the practice, that you'll look through the eyes of a business owner, of where you are now in terms of how your practice is running and thriving or not, where you want to be, and see if there are tools or recommendations or approaches in my conversation with you in this presentation that could help you make some shifts, focus your attention in a different place or on something in a different way. You may need to evaluate where you are right now in that system or in that aspect of your practice to see, does this indeed need to be improved, adjusted, or updated so that I can get a better result? That's what we're going to work on today, is some of the foundational tools we use in coaching, some of the foundational aspects of what we do in dental marketing to help you ultimately grow your practice. So let's begin. I love this quote by Craig Groeschel of the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. He says, "Successful people do consistently what others only do occasionally." What you may find if you're looking for ways to grow, looking for a better way to thrive in your dental days, we may be handling a lot of our business reactively instead of proactively. And if we take an approach of consistency in the work that we do, what we're measuring, what we're monitoring, the processes that we're executing on a daily basis, how we're engaging with our team and with our patients and so on, we may find ourselves getting a better result. So successful people do consistently what others only do occasionally. So as you look at your practice's future and trajectory, what are we doing in a more intentional way to help ourselves? You know, sometimes we're getting in our own way of practice success, whatever that means for you. And so what are we doing to focus and aim in the direction that we want to go to hit that target more effectively? That's what I want to talk about with you today in the aspects of management and marketing. Now, when I say management, that term sometimes doesn't really have the effect that I want it to have. So I want you to think of this with your business hat on in terms of how can I run my business more effectively for a better result? How can I market my business more effectively to get more and more of the types of patients that are the right fit for my ideal practice vision? That's what it comes down to. And when I say your business and when I say my practice vision, that takes me to the first piece of this puzzle of what we do and how we help practices grow and thrive and get closer and closer to what right looks like for them. I work with a lot of doctors and practice leaders doing vision planning. I work with a lot of them on helping them refine their communication skills with either their team members or with their patients. And what I often find is the thing that's getting in the way the most for progress, or the thing that's causing the most drama or the most confusion or the most frustration, often goes back to we don't have a clear vision of what's right for us and our business. Working on your vision for what you want in your practice. What does that look like in terms of the types of patients you're attracting, the type of dentistry you're doing, what the patient experience is in your practice ideally? If you were a patient of record in your practice, would you be pleased with what your experience is and what your relationship is with your practice? So, what's your end game? Have you clearly written that out and thought through what's ideal? That's important. Strategic planning 101. This is where you can really start thinking about building a clear vision for your business. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how will you get there? Often, I feel like when you're vision planning, sometimes it's backwards. Strategic planning is these questions, but you should probably ask the second question first. Where do you want to go? What do you want your practice to look like? How do you want your practice to be running? And then compare that to the reality of where you are now in that vision. That can help you identify what do I need to, what steps do I need to take? What goals do I need to set? What kind of action plan do I need to create to help me get there where I want to go? Do this for yourselves, leaders. Think through, what does right look like for you? Then the next question is, have you cast that vision to your team? Does your team know what you want? Does your team know what's expected? Maybe your vision has changed and you're just realizing that. You need to reset the standard, everyone, of this is what I want to do. This is where I want the practice to go starting today. This is how I want us to take care of our patients. This is the kind of technology I want to implement. This is the kind of, these are the kinds of procedures I want to do more of. And I want to make decisions and I want to work on skills with you, my team, to help us get closer to that. And making sure that everyone's on the same page of where you're going and that they're on board for that is your first step. If we don't know what you want, we're your employees. If I don't know what you want to accomplish, I'm just guessing that I'm doing a good job. I'm just guessing that I'm doing what you need me to do. So we need to, as leaders, get clear for our own selves of what right looks like, and then continuously communicate that through casting vision, sharing expectations, and holding people accountable to those expectations to help you move that needle forward. So, have you clearly written out a vision for your practice? What does that look like? What are the values that's most important to you? Why do you do what you do? And how do you hold people to a standard? I mean, you need to clearly communicate that. And then also, what do you want the end result to be so that you can make decisions and work on systems or reach out for tools and support that help you achieve that? And then, of course, getting your team on board to doing that with you. We cannot be successful as a team. We cannot be a group of leaders working cohesively toward a common set of goals if we don't know what the end goal is. So, having a clear vision and working through that is one of the first steps that helps to free a lot of the doctors that we work with, free them up to pursue their ideal vision. We're all about helping people live healthy, happy lives, whatever that means for them. We're all about helping you become more productive, more profitable, and ultimately more fulfilled in your practicing lives. But we can't do that, and you can't achieve that, and your team can't help you achieve that if you haven't clearly thought through and written out what ideal is to you. That'll help you stop chasing, as we say, stop chasing rabbits, because you may chase the next bright, shiny object, but it ultimately is not an appropriate thing for you to chase because it's not the ideal vision you have. But if you don't have an ideal vision in place, you can just chase anything that looks good, sounds good, and hey, it works for that person down the street, so it might work for me, when it's ultimately not a good fit for you. So getting clear for you and getting your team on the same page and on board for that is first. then it's important that we are examining and executing levels of success in terms of what we consider the critical factors of the business of dentistry. So I want to briefly review for you what we at Jameson consider the critical factors. Now, I presented this for the DBI online, the DBI on demand for Henry Schein. So if you want to go deeper into this, I encourage you to reach out to your rep and ask about that great tool and resource of a lot of industry educators that are giving some great insights through Henry Schein. I speak to this on a deeper level in my sessions. So your critical factors, let's briefly review this. These are what we consider, not all, but these are some of the critical factors of your business that we need to be setting goals for. We need to be monitoring. If we're measuring these intentionally and consistently and working on these regularly, we are going to have a really good finger on the pulse of the health and well-being of your practice. And you're going to be more than likely getting closer and closer to what's ideal for you because you've done the work to set goals appropriately, do training, and monitor these foundational factors that make your business run. That you are working toward a production goal, that you've determined with your accountant what your production goal needs to be to keep the business open, to pay for all of your overhead, and for you to be appropriately paid, doctors and leaders. You need to be clearly identifying what is even the bare minimum, and then building from that to set appropriate goals for you annually, monthly, weekly, daily. It all rolls in together. So your production, that you're setting production goals, you're sharing what those goals are with your team, and that you are working toward those goals in all of your systems, from scheduling to how you're dealing with hygiene retention and so on a regular basis. That you're measuring and monitoring your collections. We want to be collecting what we produce. Now, insurance, PPOs, that all plays a role in what this looks like for you. So it's important that you're continuously monitoring what your plans are doing in your practice, as well as what you're collecting on a regular basis. And if it's less than ideal, we need to work on the collections aspect of your practice, because the next critical factor is your accounts receivable. So as you know, and you may be experiencing it right now, if you allow your AR to snowball, it becomes more and more difficult for you to collect those monies. So we need to be intentionally putting processes into place to keep your accounts receivable under control. And that starts with how we're making financial arrangements from the very beginning and how we have a collections process in place. So as you can see, all of these build upon each other. It's like puzzle pieces in your practice. When one of these falls off and starts to glitch out on you, you can see how that can have a ripple effect on the others. That you're using patient financing. More and more and more, we are finding that if you want to be providing the type of dentistry you want, if you want to be providing comprehensive care, especially if you want to be providing aesthetic dentistry that's not typically covered in plans, you need to have ways for your patients to pay for that treatment. And a lot of practices, most of you have care credit, you have patient financing in your practices, but you're not maximizing it. You're not making it available to your patients on the regular and consistently. You're not working with your representative to help you maximize the tools that they have created and made available for you to proactively manage the financial aspect of your practice. I believe that there's a huge opportunity just waiting in the patient financing aspect of your treatment presentations, in your helping patients, more and more patients get the treatment they want and or need. So we want you, as you can see from collections, accounts receivable, patient financing, we want to get you out of the banking business, and we want to keep you in the dental professional business. So using these tools, maximizing tools, and reaching out to the resources and the people that can help you maximize what you may already have in your practice can make a difference. We want to be managing our overhead. Again, when you're working with your accountant on production, we want to be consistently aware of our overhead and managing this as effectively as possible, possible. A lot of the things about your monies, the way that you increase profit is gonna be handled in how we're handling overhead. So we want to be aware of that. The way that you're scheduling, we want to make sure that we are aware of the scheduling aspect. So we're not having a lot of highs and lows. We want stability and continuous growth, and we want to be scheduling toward production goals. We want to make sure that we're scheduling new patients in an effective time window so that we can see them as quickly as we can, and that we're prioritizing and blocking our schedule for the right types of procedures to help you have a variety in your day and meet those production goals consistently. So questions that you may want to ask yourself are: how far out are you solidly booked? When can you schedule a new patient? If you can't see a new patient within 2 to 3 weeks, you may be at risk of losing those new patient opportunities. When can you schedule a long cosmetic or comprehensive restorative case? When can you schedule a hygiene patient? Do you run behind schedule? These are just some of the questions that I'm asking of you. Are your days smooth flowing as well as productive? Do scheduling difficulties cause you stress on a regular basis? So it's important that we manage our schedule, and we schedule to productivity, profitability, and reduced stress. So it's a critical factor. Managing your broken appointments and no-shows. Do you have consistent broken appointments and no-shows? Are we doing a more proactive approach to building up the value of appointments with our patients, to reduce the pain that broken appointments and no-shows have on our practice? So we want to be monitoring how many we're having on a regular basis. Does it seem fairly small in number and not a big deal, or is it starting to creep up on you? Is it starting to wreak havoc on your schedule? Again, they're piggybacking on each other. So keep an eye on this aspect of your practice. Case acceptance. We want to be striving for 80 to 85%. And I feel like I'm being conservative in a lot of that, in terms of if we're building value and trust and a sense of need and urgency with our patients of the treatment that they want or need, we should be striving for success in our case acceptance numbers and measuring that on the regular, working as a team on the skills necessary to provide an excellent patient experience and treatment presentation. Measuring and monitoring our hygiene effectiveness. What is your hygiene production? Daily, monthly, yearly? We want to be setting hygiene production goals. What is the percentage of overall production in the practice coming from hygiene? And what percentage is non-surgical perio? How many people are in hygiene retention at this time? Do you have a hygiene retention program in place? As you can see, it's a lot, but we need to be measuring that and managing that from a business perspective, and working towards creating processes and building up skills within our team to support whatever right looks like and whatever those goals are in those areas of the practice, which, which adds to new patients. When can you see a new patient? Are you receiving the types of new patients that you need? Are you meeting your new patient goals based upon the type of treatment you want to be providing? Are you providing more comprehensive care? How many doctors are in the practice, and so on? We want to be setting appropriate new patient goals for you and measuring monthly whether we're meeting those goals. Your team, do you have the skill sets in your team built up? Do you have a mindset in your team which leads to attitude? That mindset and skill set of a high performing team. Do we help each other? Do we do the work well? Do we have the verbal skills necessary to successfully lead patients through their experiences with us? Are we engaged as a team? We're going to cover that in just a bit. So when we think about those financial aspects, the collections, accounts receivable, the patient financing, and so on, remember, if we want to increase the profit in your practice, we have to increase production, increase fees, or decrease cost, or perhaps a combination of all of those things. So managing our overhead, helping with case acceptance, improving our case acceptance, improving your hygiene productivity, improving hygiene retention, and so on. is going to be the difference maker. How we're scheduling, if we are indeed scheduling to production goals and doing that intentionally, blocking our schedule appropriately so that we see more continuous and consistent success. You've got to do these things or a combination of them in order to see your profit margin improve. So looking at the critical factors in your practice, where could you focus in one of those critical factors to see an improvement? A great business exercise is to do a SWOT analysis. What are the strengths of your practice? What are the weaknesses? Where are the opportunities, both within your practice or within your community? What are the threats that may be posing a concern for your practice? Perhaps you have outdated technology that could be dying on the vine any day. Or perhaps the threat may be the PPOs that you're in and the write-offs that you're starting to experience and the pain that's bringing to your day-to-day profitability. Perhaps a threat is something within the community. Perhaps there have been a lot of layoffs at your local industry plant or whatever it could be. You have to be aware. And so working through this at least annually together as a team or as practice leaders, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats that will allow you to strategically plan and work in your vision of what you need to keep an eye on, what do you need to be refining, what do you need to invest in, and so on to help your practice stay healthy using a SWOT analysis. So we talked about team and attitude as some of those critical factors. So one of the important things that we see a struggle for doctors and practice leaders is getting the team on board or getting the team to implement something different or to do something more effectively or to stay engaged on the day-to-day. Engagement makes a difference. So what research has shown is when people were asked, what do they consider engagement in their workplace? Belief in the organization, a desire to make things better, understanding the bigger picture, being respectful of each other, being willing to go the extra mile, keeping up to date with developments in your profession. These are what they consider engagement, what engagement looks like. So the next question is, what builds that kind of engagement in a team? And employees in various industries shared that it was being involved in decision making. Are you asking for involvement? Are you allowing feedback or brainstorming or allowing your team to bring ideas to the table? The ability to share ideas, voice concerns, safely communicate. In our founder, Kathy Jameson's book, Creating a Healthy Work Environment, it really revolves around this, that you've created a space where your team feels safe to contribute, safe to share, and comfortable in being open and participating in improving the practice. That there are opportunities for your team members to develop professionally. So are you investing in training? Are you delegating responsibilities? Are you allowing them to have room to grow? And the extent to which team members are concerned about each other's health and well-being. So if I feel like you don't care about me, or if you don't even know that I have kids and I work in your practice, we may have an issue with creating a space where their well-being is important to you. And if they know that you care about them as a person, your teammates, your team members, your employees will more than likely be more engaged in your work. Also, remember that recognition of work well done is kind of lives in that realm. And that which is rewarded is repeated. And I'm not just talking about financial reward, which is great, or in gifts, but recognizing and communicating to each other appreciation can really go a long, long way. Studies have shown it, that appreciation in the workplace is a huge motivator for engagement. So let's talk about communication. When we're working as a team, if the research is showing that employees in general want to contribute, they want to help you grow, they want to grow and thrive and work in a place that gives them room to contribute, to develop, and to engage in a high-performing team. So communication plays a role. Remember, when you're thinking about where are you going and you're casting that vision to your team, to have room to talk about, well, where are we now compared to where it is that we want to be as a practice. The way you accomplish how are you going to get there is through setting goals. And we at Jameson utilize goal setting and action planning with our practices on the regular. So my question for all of you is, do you set goals? Do you set goals as individuals? Do you set goals as teams? And are you reviewing those goals and holding everyone accountable to those goals? Great goal setting follows this methodology where you write the goal down. This is a big, this may seem so simple, but we all, as business owners, I'm right there with you, people. Well, we're walking around with a lot of wishes and want tos circulating in our head, or we're talking about it all the time. But until we write down the goal of what it is we want to accomplish and be specific about it, it's all just going to be a wish or a want to and an accidental approach to practice development. So you need to write down what it is, what the goal is, and then design your plan, your strategies. Step 1, step 2, step 3. How are you going to accomplish that goal? And if it seems overwhelming to you, just start with the first step. What's the first step to get you closer to achieving that goal? And then assigning responsibilities. Who is the person on your team? Is it you? Is it your business administrator? Is it a clinical assistant? Someone on your team. You can talk about this in team meetings of assigning who's responsible for that particular step. And then setting a deadline, defining the time frame. What's the deadline of when we're going to accomplish this? This is going to offset procrastination. This is going to offset your Groundhog Day experiences of, like, we talk about this all the time, but nothing ever gets done. Ever hear that or ever feel that? So setting deadlines for the steps, the strategy, the plan, and then taking time on the regular basis to evaluate your progress. This too is going to offset procrastination, and this is going to hold accountability in place. Because if I'm the person responsible for that step and you've set a deadline for me, and then at the next team meeting, you're going to ask me how it's going, more than likely, I'm going to be more accountable to do what's expected. You can create that accountability and engagement. So this is a snapshot of what a great goal accomplishment sheet could look like when you're in team meetings, that you set the big goal and then you start writing out the strategies almost as a checklist, determining the person or persons responsible. You could have accountability partners to help make sure things get done, or so someone doesn't feel like it's left only on their shoulders to accomplish. Setting those time frames, and then evaluation. Is it done? Is it completed? Did it get stuck somewhere and we need to work through it? Do we need to refine the goal? Whatever the case may be. We need to be specific. It's got to be motivational for people. You got to have something they want to strive for, and attainable. Sometimes we fall short in goal setting because we set such lofty, daring destination goals, which are great, but we don't set out strategies that are attainable. And when we continuously fall short of that goal, it becomes a demotivator versus a motivator. It has to be relevant to the practice, to the vision, to the team member that's responsible for it. And we have to be able to track it. If we can't track it, we can't measure if things are being accomplished. So remember to keep your goals SMART. The best place to incorporate goal setting as a team to also increase engagement and problem solve, achieve things in your strategic plan, cast vision, are in your meetings that matter. We love daily huddles. We love monthly, or twice a month, weekly, monthly, whatever you need to get done what you need to get done as a business. Monthly meetings, and quarterly brain trust, which are longer, more in-depth meetings. Perhaps this is your annual strategic planning and vision casting meeting with a team. Perhaps you're bringing in an expert to train you on your cameras or to coach you in your systems, whatever this is. These are the meetings that matter, that help you work on the business, not just in the business. So here are some steps to help you make sure those team meetings are as effective and productive and successful as they can be. A lot of people are experiencing kind of dead meetings. They've withered on the vine. They're falling flat. People aren't engaging. There's nothing really getting done. Nobody really cares. Perhaps we're starting to cancel them or fill that time with an appointment instead of having that very valuable meeting. So prioritize and schedule the time, block the time, plan ahead. The more proactive you are on making sure the meeting is successful and productive, the more likely it will be. So plan ahead, create your agenda ahead of time, and work through what you want to cover. Rotate facilitators, meaning who's leading the meeting is going to change. So if it's your office manager, every single time, he or she may be the only person talking all the time. If we want more engagement, let's switch it up a little bit. Involve the entire team. Give your introverted team members time to digest questions and topics and to contribute in a comfortable way. You may want to ask a question and give people time to mull it over and then revisit the question for feedback or insights and thoughts from your team, asking for feedback from your team and encouraging that conversation. Discuss growth topics. So if there's an area of the practice that needs to improve, if you know you want to reach a higher goal in case acceptance, you may want to work on verbal skills on a regular basis. Or you may want to work on the use of photography in the patient appointments so we become a little bit more competent and efficient in using that tool or so on. You can assign a growth topic that you all are going to work through and discuss or train on, practice together, whatever it may be. You also set goals and action plans as a team in these meetings, and we review our progress of set goals and action items at this time as well. Remember, accountability matters. We review, evaluate, continue on a plan for progress, and keep it positive. Honor the time, start on time, stop on time, and make sure we have it in a proactive, planned out, positive way. So those are some of the business systems that we really find can get you unstuck in your progress, that will make sure we have a clear vision of what right looks like. So we're making the right decisions for ourselves and we're applying the correct things for our business, and that we're clearly communicating that to our team, making sure we're on the same page and making sure our team's on board for where you are going as a practice. We're using those critical factors to help measure our effectiveness and identify where we may need to refine and work on systems or skills. We're intentionally working to create a high-performing team. Some of you may be struggling right now, as many are across the country, in terms of finding great teams. So remember, your vision matters, not just for the team you got. It matters for the team you're about to have, and that you have an intentional approach to attracting the right team members to you, to training those team members so that you're setting them up to be successful. We're not just throwing them into in a den of wolves and hoping for the best. We want to have an intentional approach to onboarding and training our team so that we're building that kind of high performing, engaged culture, and also setting them up to be successful in these systems that work the best for your practice, not what they did in the previous practice, but what's right for you. And that we're having regular team meetings and we're communicating, we're setting goals together. We're all participating in the execution of strategy to help achieve those goals, supporting each other through that, and holding each other accountable to continuous progress, continuous refinement, continuous improvement. So let's talk about your marketing. Another area where we help a lot of practices is helping them get clear not only what their practice vision is, but what their marketing vision is, and then helping them execute marketing strategy to attract the right types of patients for your practice in the right way, with the right kind of content. But a lot of things that we help our practices with is with internal marketing, because we want the large majority of your new patients to be coming to you by way of referral. So if your patients aren't sending you referrals, if your patients aren't posting reviews for you, that is a huge opportunity for you to improve your results in terms of new patient numbers. Because if you're not getting 60 to 70% of your new patients through the patients you already have, or through practices that support you through referrals. That's your opportunity, everyone. And that can be improved simply by the team approach to asking. Number one, delivering exceptional care and service. That's a wow experience for your patients. And then asking for those reviews, asking for those referrals to help generate more of the right types of patients for you. When we have patients, well, if any business brings in someone new that came by referral of someone that already works with that business, they are head and shoulders more qualified to be an ideal patient for you, because there's already value and trust in this built from the stories they heard from the friend or family member that they trust the most. Nothing you can say or do is going to be more effective than what they say about you. So building up your internal efforts through referrals and reviews. Remember this: people want to do business with someone they know, someone they like, someone they trust. And so when they see these reviews or they're hearing these stories from existing patients, are like, oh, you've got to go see my dentist. Oh, you've got to go see Dr. Maddox. She is just the best. Here's what she's done for me. Here's my story. Or if you read that testimonial on a review, that has so much power in building what we consider the 4 pillars of a patient practice partnership: building trust, building a sense of need, building a sense of urgency to come and see you and get healthy, and a sense of value of the work that you do and what you bring to the table. So we want to make sure that we are intentionally asking for these things, because once they're a patient, you should also help them see the need for your services, the value and the urgency of those services, and then give them the tools to talk about you. Google reviews help you build trust and build value, because I, as a consumer, this is a part of my online search behavior now. It naturally leads people to your reviews. I naturally am going to gravitate to those to hear and see what other people's experiences have been with you before I ever make a decision to schedule an appointment with you. So that is where it can build a strong amount of value and impact for you. 72% of people that are asked will leave a review for you. So a lot of you may be utilizing in your patient communication software or your practice management software the emails or texts that go and ask for reviews. Well, that's great, and you may be getting some good responses from time to time. But if we build upon that by asking and then letting them know what they can expect. Mrs. Jones, we just love having you in the practice. Thank you so much. When you leave today, you're going to be receiving a text from the practice asking for a Google review. This helps people in the community that are looking for a dental home learn a little bit more about our practice from our actual patients. And it would mean a lot to us if you feel comfortable to do so, if you would please consider leaving us a review. Thank you so much. And so getting comfortable, practicing, role playing, starting with your raving fans, start asking them first, because they're the easiest to ask, right? They love you, they want to help you. So identify who your raving fans are, your ideal patients, your people that love you the most and see the most value in your patient family. Start asking them as a team, start practicing on your most beloved patients. And as you get more comfortable, you're going to start to see more opportunities in conversations with patients to easily ask. 86% of consumers pay attention to reviews in the last month. So only the reviews in the last month. So remember that timing is everything. There are some expiration dates in terms of the value of that review. So we want to make sure we're continuously asking and pursuing reviews from our patients. 80% of users report reading Google reviews. And so that is where we see such a value of incorporating an intentional process of asking, of managing, of responding, and utilizing Google reviews as an opportunity to grow your business the right way. So asking for referrals and reviews, if you're not doing that consistently and effectively, that's where you begin, everyone, is internally. Now, if you feel like you are doing all of those things and doing it well, it may be time to work on external. So we at Jameson have what we consider a holistic marketing strategy, where we use a lot of content and information and approaches that are very unique to you, the dental practice, to set you apart from everyone else. So we want to identify who are the right people, the right person that is ideal for what you do. If there's a certain type of dentistry that you want to do more of, let's say you want to do more implants, let's say you want to do more cosmetic, whatever the case may be, we want to identify content and find the people that are looking for that kind of care too. And then we use our pipelines, those avenues of external marketing that you have available to you, from social media to online, to your reviews, to blogs, and so on. The way that we can reach out in our external efforts, those are the pipelines that ultimately bring them to your platform, your website. So we want to make sure our website is up to date, that the team page is up to date, that the services are up to date, and that we have what they call unique content in your website, that for people that are looking for something specific, if it's unique, Google is going to filter in a search those businesses that seem to have the most unique information on their website. So if you have, if your website and 7 other websites in your community are all more templated in nature and there's not unique information or content on there, you may not win the search, because we need unique content in order to be found. So a game changer for you in marketing is a current, optimized, engaging website. So 5 C's to your successful website are: is it current? Listen, if you haven't updated your website in the last 3 years, more than likely it's not. So you need to take a look at how current. If you want to be seen as high end, high tech, high functioning, high quality, high value, your website needs to reflect whatever it is you want patients to expect or accept from you. So is it current? Do I know how to talk? Can I contact you easily through it? Is the content relevant to you and up to date? And is it focused on the patient and what I'm going to receive? Not everything about you. It's not about you, it's about the patient. So is it client focused? Is it patient focused? And is all of your branding consistent across all of your pipelines? So if I go and I find you on Facebook, and your cover photo and your profile picture or your logo is different, even the colors is different from your website. If I go to your website, will I be able to connect the dots that there's consistency across your brand? So those are things to look at when you go to review your website. Ask yourself these questions. If I were a patient, would this seem current to me based upon website trends and designs and function? Is it easy to figure out how to contact me? Is the content up to date and unique? Is it focused on the patient and what's in it for them at our practice? And are we consistently branding ourselves in an appropriate way? And remember, answer this question: how easy do we make it for a patient to get what they want or need from us? So is your website easy for them? Another game changer is that unique content and your online social media presence. Here are some keys to help that we coach a lot of practices in. Creating a champion on your team that helps to lead your effort, that is ultimately the main person posting for you and helping to manage and respond on your channels. But that it's also a team effort, that we're prioritizing time together to help that champion come up with content and information, that we're storyboarding. And what that means is that we're planning out, perhaps we're thinking ahead of what days we want to make sure we're posting on, or what we want to promote, or patients that we want to highlight and get permission from and do stories on, or whatever the case may be. and that we're posting consistently. It doesn't have to be every day. It's quality over quantity, but we are intentionally incorporating social media and our online presence as a system in our practice. And that you're creating unique blogs on your website. This is a key factor for your searchability. Remember, unique content is important. And that you're scheduling out to save yourself time, that you're prioritizing time in your schedule to appropriately plan and execute a strategy. So those are some steps to help you manage your social media more effectively. I love this quote by Will Rogers. He says, if you want to be successful, it's just this simple. Know what you're doing, love what you're doing, and believe in what you're doing. So what I've talked about today is all over the board. So what you need to think about is, where do I need to be better as a leader to grow my practice? Is it that I haven't really thoroughly thought through and written down what my vision is and what I want to accomplish in my practice? Or is it that I haven't clearly communicated it to my team? Am I not effectively monitoring those critical factors? Have I set appropriate goals? Do I even know where I stand in, do I know what my accounts receivable is? What's my collections percentage? What's my production daily, monthly, yearly? What's my case acceptance rate? How's our hygiene retention? How's our new patient numbers? Have I been having effective team meetings? Are we having them regularly? Could they be better? Are we incorporating goal setting and action planning in those team meetings? Am I working to create that environment that people have said create more engagement, where we're having meetings where people feel free and comfortable to engage? Does my team feel like they can give feedback and insights? Do they feel like they're in a safe place? Do I give them room to grow and develop? Am I delegating and building on their skill sets? And do they feel cared for here? Am I creating a healthy work environment? When it comes to attracting the right types of patients, are we consistently asking for referrals and reviews from our raving fan ideal patients to help grow our business? And if we're doing that, then what are we doing to refine our external marketing efforts if we're indeed investing in that? When was the last time I took a look at my website? What's our approach to social media? Could we do that better? What are our goals of what we want to achieve in those aspects of the practice and building our recognition in our community? You can see there's a lot of questions that you need to ask yourself, and there's a lot of approaches that you can start taking today to improve in those areas. So it's important that you get focused, that you start to look at your practice from a different perspective, and get real with yourself and with your team, and include your team, involve your team in helping you problem solve or troubleshoot or action plan strategically and intentionally in a proactive way to be better. If you are a part of the Henry Schein family, which you more than likely are because you are on this webinar, I want to invite you to visit Grow by Jameson. This is an online learning platform that can help you and your team. If you are hiring, you can train your team with foundational Jameson systems and teaching, from the patient experience to scheduling to hygiene. And we will be launching today or this month a marketing pathway as well. So if you are looking for ways to grow your practice more effectively, you can also get that, as well as our Foundations for Growth pathway that's already on live, which leads you through vision planning, team meetings, and more. So you can simply pick up your phone and scan this QR code with your camera on your phone right now, and this will take you to a page on our Grow by Jameson platform, grow.jmsn.com. And by being on this webinar with Henry Schein, you can receive a month for free on the Grow platform through this page that this QR code takes you to. So I invite you to scan this and go sign up and get your free month. At any time after that, it's $29 a month for individuals. And if you want to sign up your entire team, it's $199 a month. So a tool that can help you build the skills in your team, help you to be continuously learning and develop, and give you you some insights, whether it's in the management of your practice or the marketing. This will give you learning tools and resources for all of you to be better. And then if you want to have a conversation with me personally about your practice and what coaching with Jameson or marketing with Jameson could look like, I invite you to reach out to me at any of these ways. Our website's jmsn.com, or you can email us at info@jmsn.com, or give us a call, and we can schedule what we call a discovery session. And that's with me, and we can talk about your practice, your goals. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And we can brainstorm ways of how we can help you get there. It would be my pleasure to have that conversation with you. And with that concludes my presentation for you today. I want to thank you for the privilege of your time, and I want to encourage you to take a look at your practice and determine where you can refine and take one step, make one strategy that can help you get closer to what right looks like for you. Thanks so much.
Another terrific presentation. Thank you so much, Carrie. If anyone has additional questions about tonight's topic, please email us at webinars@henryschein.com and we'll connect you with the Jameson Dental team. Additionally, if anyone's interested in attending future Henry Schein webinars, visit henryscheindental.com/webinars for our upcoming schedule. As a thank you for attending, everyone will receive the recording via email within 1 week. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great night.